there's three of us. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it all goes.
Oopsies. Okay, I shouldn't be clicking like that. Okay.
Okay, attendees. All right.
Yeah, we have some people here.
Yeah, we're monitoring the list of people coming in the door. They can hear, I think they can hear me, but we can't hear you. Is that right, Olivia?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we have opened up, I'm gonna open we have a chat, and then we also have a question and answer. I just enabled the chat. And then all of the participants, we also have a question and answer box that will be taking questions throughout this session. But for those of you who are joining us, if you can let us know in the chat that you can hear us, that would be helpful, since this is our first time giving this a go. Hopefully everybody can hear us well. Oh, we have somebody who waved. Wonderful. That's a good sign. They can hear us. And we're gonna just wait a couple minutes and we'll get started right on time. Wait for a few more people to join us. Oh, I see a few more people trickling in.
And just so I know, Olivia, was there an additional link sent out this morning? Does that happen automatically, or do we need to do that manually?
That's a great question. And I was thinking that it was supposed to go out automatically. However, I registered and I don't think I received.
I received another one today.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a bug for us to work out. Also some feedback from those we invited. We're always looking for ways to improve, and if additional communication did not go out, that's definitely something to improve for next time.
Yeah. So if we're gonna get going here real quick. And for those of you that are already in the room, we're gonna banter a little back and forth because this is the first time we've done a webinar, and I can see the list of people that are coming in, and it's basically let's say amiable audience. So thank you very much. Olivia, if one of the people in the chat, the participants has their hand raised, are they saying hello, or are they trying to ask a question?
I think they're saying hello.
Yeah. Okay.
That's if you do have something to say or ask, I'll say this. If you have a question that you already know that you'd like addressed, please utilize the Q&A. Everybody should have access to the Q&A box. And Jeff is going to be monitoring those, and we're going to leave time at the end of our presentation to send some questions to Scott for him to address. If you're experiencing an issue, or you can use the chat but it appears that they can hear us.
Yeah, that looks good. Let's get started. And we'll just say this for the people that are going to be joining us as we go. Our intention is to, well, we're recording this, and as a lot of you already know, we're highly regulated. So anything that we post, which we will post a summary of this on our website, needs to go through compliance, et cetera. So if you're taking notes, that's great. And just remember that we'll have this posted on our website in the not too distant future, however long it takes us to get through the compliance. So Olivia, why don't you just get started and let's get going.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Like I said, thank you for joining us for this webinar. We are joined by our guest speaker, Scott DeFord. Scott is going to be leading the discussion here on keeping our identity and our finances safe, becoming more cyber secure. And just a little bit about Scott. He has 30 years of law enforcement and investigation experience. He spent 24 years serving in the Secret Service in the Central District of Texas. And while his time, he established a cybercrime task force that worked both with local, national, and transnational gangs. He has been recognized nationally as a subject matter expert on fraud, and he's currently working in the financial industry in fraud protection. And Scott, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Olivia and Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm always happy to talk to people and try to keep them from losing money. That's what I've been doing for 30 years, and I continue to do that.
Great. Just a little kind of overview, and Scott and I, we're going to kind of pass the baton back and forth throughout this presentation, but the four objectives that we're going to cover during this webinar is how to guard yourself against identity theft, recognizing common scam and fraud attempts that occur both offline, just in your regular life, as well as online. Recognize and how to recognize and reduce exploitation, and just some practical best practices to become more cyber secure. And once again, we'll leave time at the end to address questions. So with that, we're going to go into it and just talk about some ways to guard against identity theft.
Okay. I'd just like to say I appreciate everybody showing up, and we'll just start. And of course, I could spend hours and hours talking about all kinds of different fraud, but we'll just try to hit the topics that are hot right now. And of course, if you have questions later. One of the things you need to do is limit your personal information shared online. I am a certified fraud examiner, and we have a convention every year to talk about it. In fact, one of the best ones I had a couple of years ago was in Seattle, because it wasn't 90 degrees like it was in Texas right now. So that was really nice. But one of the things they showed was the onset of AI, and AI is a good thing if used properly, but the fraudsters are using AI too to help increase their fraud posture. I know that I've talked to some of my friends back at the Secret Service, and a lot of people don't know we employ digital engineers, computer engineers, and things that help us. And they said one of the things is the scare of AI, and what used to take 4 or 5 gangsters or fraudsters together to do some type of fraud. Now 1 or 2 people can do it and make it more efficient. And so you need to be aware of how much you put out there on all the websites, all your social web pages and stuff, because not only are good people looking at things, but bad people are looking at things. And just to let you know, the one thing that I took from the AI discussion that we had was now where if any place on social media or anywhere, a fraudster could get maybe 15 or 20 seconds of your voice. They can impersonate your voice, and I could get Olivia's voice, and of course her voice is a lot a lot nicer than my voice, but then I could talk to her father, and her father would swear that Livia is talking to him. And so that is very scary. So you can just imagine what that would bring if you thought you were talking to your bank or financial institution, your tax preparer or whatever. How that is. So that is what we're looking at. And I knew it was coming, but it's on the forefront, and it's going to take some time for the government and independent fraud fighters to block that. One other thing I want you to be aware of regarding phishing attacks, everybody sees this, they talk about it, and if you get an email, and this is, we all talk about, how fraud and technical things are, but a lot of fraud happens just from social engineering. It's nothing really fancy. It's nothing really technical about it. They just dupe you into giving up your information. And so, like on a phishing attack, they send you something like, "Hey, did you make this purchase at XYZ company?" And they want you to click on something. Well, once you click on that, you can open yourself up to different types of malware, viruses, or anything like that. So you always want to make sure that it's from a known person or known link. Safeguarding your computer antivirus software. Everybody should have some type of antivirus software in your computer. And one thing that I did talk to Olivia about too is a VPN. If you are working on it, and hopefully at your home, you have a secure website, you may have some other things in place. But if you go outside, say you're at the airport and you're waiting on a flight, and the only way that you get on is to public access at the airport, it's very dangerous to do something like that, or at a hotel, very dangerous to do that. The VPN will kind of help you mask your identity, mask what you're doing, especially if you're paying bills or you're talking to or conversing with a company. You're putting your information, your bank information, or you're putting your credit card or something like that information. It's not really that safe to be there, but with a VPN, it makes you a little bit more safe and kind of mask you so the fraudsters can't get all the information that they would need. One other thing I was going to talk to is recognize scams that occur from personal relationships. I've worked with banks and financial institutions, and this is when they tell me these words, well, I know that customer, and that customer wouldn't do that. Or, we've had that customer be here for 30 years. And I always say, yeah, it's not the customer that you have to worry about. It's what the customer may be being told in the background. A lot of things the bankings are seeing now is you may get a call and you may be thinking that you're talking, or you may be getting an email or a text, and you may be thinking you're talking to the FBI, the IRS. I've even seen one, the Federal Trade Commission. And if you open dialogue with them, they'll try to convince you that your banking institution is in on a fraud. You need to take some money out of there to protect your money, and you need to go down to your bank or your financial institution or wherever, and you need to transfer $50,000, and they want to take it out in cash. And we've seen this many times where a person will go to the bank, take out $50,000 cash. A lot of banks, I advise against that, and take out the cash, and then under the pretext that, hey, I'm redoing my bathroom, or hey, I have an emergency in my family and I need this money. And it makes the people at the bank believe you, but they don't know in the background somebody's talking to you. We've even had come into banks, and they're talking on the telephone with the fraudster, and the bank personnel were able to identify, say, whom are you talking to? Who is that on the phone? And a lot of times they'll be talking to the fraudster on the phone, and it's happens all the time because people will talk to these and think that they're talking to somebody reputable. And it's just amazing to me how many times that happens. So always, if you get a call or something like that, hang up and go to online. Your best source is not have any conversation. Go online, Google the IRS, Google the FBI, Google whatever, and call it a verified number. And shop cautiously online from trusted companies and websites. They're always frauds and that's another thing that that is sold a lot of times from like Norton or some other companies that will help you and block false websites coming up to you. The one thing that comes to mind about these false websites, this is something that I wrote down another note, is that I've seen a lot of is these job websites. We had like one of the job companies, Indeed. We had I knew of a lady that thought she was applying for a job, Indeed, and they said, "Hey, you're going to be an assistant to the president. We're gonna set you up at a home office. We will send you a check, and then when you get that check, will you please try to go open up account?" And they usually send it's called advanced fee fraud. They'll send you, say, $5,000. They'll say, "Hey, take $1,000 and send it to XYZ. They're going to send you some furniture or something or supplies for your business." And people do that, but what happens is they want to get that money into the account, and it's usually a counterfeit check, so it takes a little while for the bank to recognize that, and they want to try to get that money moving. They want you to get a debit card real fast, and then start Zelle things out or doing other things, payments to get it out of there. So that's what I'm saying. In this case, this was somebody that approached them. If you're not looking for a job, then again, if that job comes to you, go online through Google or whatever search engine you want to, and if it was XYZ company, just search XYZ company and see if you can contact them directly, and not through a text or anything.
Yeah. Something I want to add as well about shopping cautiously online, because I see this happen in my peer group often, are just, when a deal is just too good to be true, kind of a thing. I fall into this where my computer will remember things that I've purchased. You get targeted ads, and all of a sudden, oh wow, those shoes that I was looking at Nordstrom, suddenly I'm being advertised to buy them for a fraction of a cost from a site that I may not recognize at all. And that should be a big red flag, whether it's just a counterfeit product or an attempt for me to put in my information and my credit card. I often find myself talking with friends about, have you ever ordered from this company before? Or you can look up online, the Better Business Bureau, what kind of ratings they have. Are they a reputable company? Because I'm seeing that more and more rampant. And if something seems too good to be true, a deal too good to pass up, that should be a red flag. All right, so heading into just how to recognize some common scam attempts, and Scott, you've mentioned some of these already, and you're gonna tackle this first slide, just talking about what they could look like offline, and then I'll cover some that are happening online.
Okay, so one of the scams is theft of money or property by family members, caregivers, or in-home helpers. Okay, so just because they're a family member or something like that, I've seen many instances where grandma and grandpa, one or spouse dies, and then the long lost granddaughter shows up to help grandpa, either with his daily, he doesn't get around very well, or he needs help getting his medicine or getting his groceries, and she shows up. And a lot of banks that will look at the account, and maybe he comes in and he puts the granddaughter on the account with him, but yet then over to the account, he may have his life savings in there, but we see large amounts of money going out either in wires or in other ones that's not like his granddaughter's or like his normal banking activities. And then that should throw a red flag, and your bank or your financial institution will reach out to you and look at, like, saying, well, what's going on? We've seen it where we see plane tickets to Vegas, or on the gambling sites, or these are buying a brand new car, and that's not in grandfather's wheelhouse to be making those purchases. We did have a big case with the Veterans Administration where they sent a home health care over that went through the Veterans Administration to a veteran who's 93 years old, and he allowed the people that were helping him into his online banking, and they by the time the bank found out about it, they took about $75,000 out of his account, and that was a big thing because that was a quote vetted through the Veterans Administrations, and so that opened a big investigation through the Veterans and the FBI. Telemarketer, mail offer, salesperson scams. You see them all the time, especially here in Texas. We get hurricanes, we get hail, we get tornadoes. And so we always have people coming up and saying, hey, I can fix your roof. I can resurface your driveway. And they always want money up front. Never fall for those guys. If it's a reputable contractor, they'll set something up with you and work that out. The one thing I will say too is that I see a lot. If you're on your computer, and it happens all the time, you'll get a pop-up from Microsoft saying, "Hey, there's something wrong with your account. You've been contacted, or something's wrong with your account. Please contact this information," and they'll get you to call in. Well, I've seen it time and time again. Someone calls in there, they think they're talking to Microsoft, and then they let them get into their computer, but they'll let them go to a site, let them get in their computer, and the next thing they know, they also let them into their online banking, and they're moving money around, and before they know it, they'll drain their accounts that way.
Mhm.
Or I've got one not too long ago where I was searching an Airbnb because my wife and I went on vacation, and when I went to this site, this is the first time I've seen that. Alarms went off. It was loud, brr, brr, brr. And my grandson, and he's 8 years old, it scared him and he's very intelligent. He said, they know where we are through the IP address. I said, no, it's okay. It's just a fraudster trying to scare you into manipulating you to go to their site to try to do something. I just rebooted the computer and went on.
One quick story as well, Scott. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but just
Yeah.
talking about the sales calls. I was actually helping one of our clients and went to contact the Social Security office, contacted the local Social Security office, and I misdialed the phone number by 1 digit. And somebody, it was somebody answered and got in a queue or, a phone queue, and immediately could tell that it wasn't quite right. But even that intentional, we're gonna have a phone number really close to a phone number that somebody might be calling in for Social Security or, Veterans Affairs or a bank number. So it's always good if you're, making an outgoing phone call that you double check the phone number that you're calling. In that case, I could tell right away that we weren't at the right place, that we had kind of landed in potentially some dangerous waters there.
The next one, exploiting by an agent under power of attorney or fiduciary relationship. There's real stringent laws that protect them and your financial relationship. The one thing is I would always shop, make sure that they come with good credentials, just by meeting somebody at your church or at a social function and saying, hey, I just like that guy. You really do your due diligence on that type of investigation, because just like he seems like he's a nice guy, you need to go online and do a little bit of background on something like that before you let them take care of your money. I've got a funny story. When I have a guy that takes care of my money, been a good guy for about 15 years now. But the guy, when I went there, I was still in the Secret Service, and I said, hey, now you did hear of Bernie Madoff, right? And the Ponzi scheme. I said, just to let you know, if that happens to me, you'll have 2 black Suburbans pull up at your house and you'll never be seen again. And he laughed, and I told him, I said, I'm not laughing, but of course I was joking, but but that's just something. But that was some guy that I checked out very much before I did that. Investment fraud and scams, you see them all the time. People will and I see a lot of older generation. They're getting really good about getting on the computer, and their computer literacy is very well. But sometimes they get the biggest thing is investment in things that they don't really know anything about. I'm having a blank here, like for
Cryptocurrency.
yeah, cryptocurrency. I'm sorry, cryptocurrency, and we see that all the time. And they think they're investing in cryptocurrency. It's going to be a good deal. And the old adage that if it's too good of a deal to be true, then it's something's probably wrong with it. Then something's probably wrong with it. And a lot of times they'll say, I knew a big case where a gentleman lost $100,000. He said, "Hey, I know this guy from church, and he's a real good friend of mine, and he wants me to invest in cryptocurrency." And I said, "Okay, well, do you know anything about cryptocurrency?" And he was telling me a little bit about it. But that gentleman was the gentleman he was talking to was actually getting scammed himself, and he was investing in the crypto mining. Not the currency, but the high-end computers where they go in there and they have algorithms and do blockchain and make all the cryptocurrency validate. I don't know, unless you know about something and you feel good about it. It's different to talk about cryptocurrency versus McDonald's. So if everybody knows about McDonald's, but you know a little bit about cryptocurrency, that's something that the fraudsters know, and they'll try to scam you on. Lottery and sweepstakes scams. When I started my career, there were the Nigerian prince, where you won the Nigerian sweepstakes. Some of you may remember that. You may have gotten a fax. That's how long ago. And say, "Hey, you won Nigerian sweepstakes, but you just need to pay the insurance and the shipping or whatever taxes, and you could win $35 million. Well, the old adage again: if you didn't put your ticket in for the sweepstakes, then you probably didn't win it. The next one is the grandparent imposter scams. This is kind of go back to when I was talking about AI and your voice. This one is one where these fraudsters that operate in this, well, all the fraudsters, but this one especially, I hope they have a special place in hell for them, because they play on your emotions. I've seen people get a call in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, this is your grandson, and I'm in South America. I've been in a bad accident. I need $5,000, or I've been in jail, or whatever." And because of and you need to do it right now because of the urgency. And that's one key word I want everybody to remember in their mind. If they want something urgent, if something urgently needs to do, and it has to do with finance, sending money or anything like that, that's a red flag, because they want you to do it quickly so they can get the money and get out before they get caught or it's get figured out. But now with AI, and like I did previously, this one is a very scary area, because you're going to swear, that's your grandson or your granddaughter's voice. And if you think that it is, you're going to send the money. So I always tell people in a family to have a security word. Like if something were to happen, there's only the family knows whatever your word is. So, if something doesn't sound right, say, "Well, what is a security word?" And then that way you can verify that, is this truly my grandson? Is this truly somebody I know and trust? The romance and charity scams are off the hook. Because they're, again, these fraudsters are paying off your emotions. People, and they know when you lose a spouse. They're that smart. And so I know of a lady right now that she thought that she had a boyfriend that was working over in Saudi Arabia in the oil fields, and this thing goes on forever. I mean, it could go on 6, 7, 8 months. Send pictures. Hey, I'm coming to see you. Pick me up at DFW. And then at the last minute, "Oh, well, I couldn't do it because I had to work." If those things happen, and I tell people, if you have not sat down, had a cup of coffee, held this person's hand, had lunch with them, it's a scam. It really is, because I told a lady one time, I said, I could send you a picture of Tom Selleck and you think you're talking to Tom Selleck, but as you can see, I don't look like Tom Selleck. So that's one thing. The tax and debt collector scams, that you can have those too. People call and say, hey, you didn't pay the IRS. We're going to put you in jail, or we're going to seize your property, or whatever. And that the IRS does not do that. The only way the IRS contacts you is by the United States mail. If they have anything to do with you, it will be the United States mail. So if you get anything, a pop-up, if you get a text or anything, that's going to be a scam. The reverse mortgage fraud, I haven't really seen much of that. It's something that they put on there. It's something that, it could be an opening to fraud, but quite honestly, I really hadn't seen that much.
Great. And Scott, feel free to chime in on any of these. And I know that we've talked about some of these, and I actually, my next slides, I provided my own examples of some of these that I've seen. And I'm sure that many of you have also seen some of these phishing attempts. And these are just a few of them. Scott, I've heard you speak before to say the thing about people who are scamming and frauding, they're innovative, and it's tough sometimes to keep up with the methods that they are attempting. But imposter emails, not just the really suspicious emails that, sometimes are my email just kind of filtrates the junk out, but every once in a while one will creep through that is designed to mimic a reputable company and institution, one that I use. I've got an example coming up, but I can think of another, again, I mentioned Nordstrom. It's a company that I frequent. And I one time received an email from them, and it had a typo in it. And to me, that it was a red flag. Just because it says it's from Nordstrom and it has the Nordstrom logo, does that really mean that that's where that's coming from? So being just aware that that is a common method that they're going to use to try to get you to verify payment information, click a link, direct you to a site that could harvest your information. Getting emails or texts asking for verification. I get those scam text messages from my bank saying that, hey, we need to verify your account information. There's an issue. I appreciate that my bank sends us information saying we will never ask you to verify an account number. We will never email you. We will never text message you.
Hello. Olivia, are you still there? It's like we've got a little bit of a computer freeze going on. Try to raise your hands in the meeting if you can hear Jeff. We'll see if we can get Olivia back. Okay. All right. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Good. Excellent. We'll get Olivia back online here.
Jeff, I can continue until Olivia gets back on.
Yeah. Good. Well, let's go to the next slide. And Olivia's got some examples here. I think I can move to the next slide. I think I can. Yeah, it looks like Olivia got out. Okay. Olivia's going to need to get back in to have the presentation. Something happened with her computer. I'm not sure exactly yet. I'm going to just talk a little bit about a few things as I was taking notes on. I'll try to keep this moving and give Olivia time to get back on here. But some of the things that Scott's already covered, are things that I've experienced. I mean, this whole idea of people convincing you to send them money. That I had a neighbor who's passed away, and he had a severe case of dementia. And Olivia, you're back?
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened.
Let's get back to the part of the presentation and
Okay.
and just go to the next slide, Olivia. Cover cover the actual emails.
Examples.
Yeah, I think this is very important because this, of course, as a fiduciary, you know, we get schooled on this quite a bit. And email, this what Olivia is about to show you is things that have happened not only to her, but happened to me as well. And this is one of the best ways of determining email wise if it's fraudulent. Okay,
Yes.
Olivia, keep going.
Okay, thank you for vamping. I apologize about that. So these are real examples that I received, you know, over the past few months. This is one that I would bet that most of you have received. This came in as a text message. It's saying a package that has arrived can't be delivered. The USPS, United States Postal Service, is a place that I frequent often. So it catches my eye. Oh, I did just send a package. There's an issue. It catches my eye right away until I remember, check to see where it has come from, who is sending it. Also, the United States Postal Service, I've never provided them my phone number, so there is no reason for them to be texting me.
I saw your Quanta stuff, but you don't have anything.
Okay.
to work with you.
Oh, we've got some noise in the background. Here's another example. This is what I was talking about with the emails that mimic legit emails. This is an email that I got from PayPal, again, a company that I've used. It has my correct email address in it. It's referencing McAfee Protection, which is a antivirus software. And you'll see that they have a phone number that they want me to call, and the big red flag, you have 12 hours to do this, that sense of urgency. This is an email that admittedly I will catch my attention and think, oh, there's something wrong. Or did I pay for this? That's a big charge, $350. But again, go back up to see who sent me this email, because it's saying it's coming from PayPal and that's PayPal's logo. Well, this is not coming from PayPal. Going straight to the source to see who sent this to me. This immediately tells me that this is a fraudulent attempt, and it's an immediate block. And so that may be one. I've gotten them from banks before, and stores that I've shopped at. This is a common one that I receive. And then this one I would say is the newest attempt. And I have recently got a new phone number. And I think that when you, sometimes having a newer phone number, maybe it makes you a little more susceptible, although I get them on my other as well. Attempts to sound very casual and friendly via text message. And these, I could have provided a whole page of, 20 examples of these. These are all examples of text messages that I've received that are attempts to get me to engage. And you can see the dates on these. These have all been within the last few months. And so, likewise, as Scott mentioned, having, security safe words and things like that. If somebody is trying to reach out to you, they should know something personal about you enough to know, I think that this attempt here, we're trying to get in Connor to swim. The attempt is to get me to say, you have the wrong number. Who is this? I don't have this number saved. And these almost catch me every time because it's not uncommon for friends to text me in this way.
Let's stop here for now. And these are some of our solutions, but I want to give plenty of opportunity for everybody to ask questions. And I've got a pre-question already, and I was waiting to hear the presentation to see if you deal with this. This is coming from one of the people that is concerned. And just remember, Scott, that a lot of our clients aren't as young as Olivia. They're more my age. Now, I'm very technical. And my clients have been embracing the technology. And we've wanted to do this workshop actually for 3 years, and couldn't find anybody in the Secret Service in Seattle to do this. And Scott and Olivia ran into each other randomly. So I'm super, super grateful. Here's the question for you, Scott. Periodically, there'll be companies that get hacked, whether they're insurance companies or some company that gets hacked, and then they will let their clients know, by the way, our system was hacked, and it's potentially the potential of having your personal information exposed is now a real threat. So how can you protect yourself if you get a letter like that from an insurance company or somewhere else, or your identity has been stolen, because that's happened? What can you do to try to neutralize, mitigate, or eliminate that as a threat? Let's just say your birthday and social security number has been exposed. It's on the dark web somewhere. What can you do? What are the things that are possible? Does the things like Life Alert work? Some of these, let's just call it, companies that will help you protect your identity. Are those worth the price of admission? And are there other ways of cleaning up potential breach by a company that legitimately has your information?
So Jeff, there's a few ways, but I do these webinars and in-person speeches, and one of the funny things I always say, I said, hey, who here is worried about their information being on the dark web? And we'll get people raise their hands. I said, well, don't worry about it, because it's there. Everybody's social security number and a lot of people's emails, it just came out in the news, is on the dark web. And so, and I've looked at it, I've worked in it, I've been to conferences about it, and it can be scary when you're there. The last conference I went to, they opened up and it looked like something. It looked like Amazon. You could purchase cards, you could purchase IDs, so it's there. With that said, one of the things you could do I always strongly tell everybody that at least once a year, because usually a lot of your banking institutions or financial institutions will give you a 1 year where you can go check your credit. You always need to check your credit at least once a year to see if something's funny on there, if something's going on, something like that. That's always one other way. The other way too is those letters that you get. Now, here's a flip on that fraud. I've known fraudsters that said, they heard like AT&T got hacked. Well, they know they've got your phone numbers and stuff, and they know there's an AT&T because of the dark web. They're very sophisticated, and they'll start sending out letters or try to say, hey, this is from AT&T, and you need to do this, this, and this. And they're fraudsters because they know about the AT&T hack. So anytime you get anything like that, anytime that you think that, it doesn't matter if it's your insurance company, title companies are real scary too. If you do think, make a call to a verified, not what's on the screen, not what you get on your phone or anything. Go online, look at the company's information and call them from that number. And said, hey, I got this letter. Hey, I got this information, to verify that, because a lot of times it may be the fraudster that is sending that information because they know about it and they're just trying to manipulate that.
Okay, that's great. Life Alert, are those kinds of systems?
The Life Alert, I'm not going to recommend any company or not recommend any company, but I mean, the thing with Life Alert, they let you know about it, but it's already happened. So it's already happened, and they'll guide you. I mean, but the issue's already happened, and I'm not saying that it's not worth it, but if you get some comfort from that, they let you know if you're not really versed on the computer or looking at your financial financial statements and you want somebody that would be all right. But my deal is, the only thing is, it's already happened and they're just letting you know.
Okay.
And they'll help you clean it up, but you really could clean that up by yourself. By if you ever have any ID, you think your identity has been stolen, you need to contact one of the three credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, or oh gosh, it's left me right now. But if you contact one of them, they usually will cover the other ones. The three major credit
Okay.
bureaus.
We got some other questions here. In the last example that Olivia used, where the texting, you're getting somebody just texting you that you perceive, you know, and that's happened to me too. What's the end goal of these people? Are they just messing around, or are they really the fraudsters that are trying to trap you?
No, they're the fraudsters that's trying to trap you. This, you know, especially now, everything is worldwide. These fraudsters that are doing this are operating overseas. And if anybody, I don't know, I think Olivia knows, if anybody ever seen The Beekeeper, it's a new movie out. It is exactly what happens, except they dramatize it a lot. They have call centers working overseas, Nigeria, China, Hong Kong, other places that are taking your information off the dark web and trying to contact you and to con you into doing numerous things. So it's just not, you know, you may be sitting in Spokane, Washington, or Seattle or something like that, and you think that it's happening right there, but it's really not. It's being driven and being coming from overseas.
Okay, great. Here's another question. What is the best approach to take for accepting cookies?
On the,
Only accept them if the Girl Scouts have their
Right, exactly. Depends on what brand they are. No, I would not. I would never do that. Because they're trying to get into your financials. I guarantee you, no, I wouldn't do that.
So,
And
but a lot of websites now, in particular European websites, you can't even see that unless you say, yeah, I go, yes, I accept the cookies that you're trying to give me so I can work on your website.
Well, if you do that, the person who's going to accept them, I would say you need to verify who that company and call somebody at that company. The old phone call is still a very good way. Add a verified number. That I say that would alleviate 90% of these fraud. What's old is new. If you just do that, and there's a couple other things too about talking about what's old, what's new. I please do not mail any bills, checks, or anything at a blue box across the United States. If you have to, even the U.S. Postal Service says, do not use a U.S. mail to mail any bills or any documents that are sensitive because of mail theft. It is the number one. Then when we talk about cyber security, and that's good, but I want to tell everybody the one thing across the board is stealing mail to get checks out of there, business checks, because it's check fraud. Check fraud is still one of the number one ways for people to lose money. We can talk about.
I'm glad you brought that up. I just want to interject here. So, if you have a check and you're paying your bills by check, which a lot of our clients do, one of the things that I've recommended is just have your name on there. Strip everything else off there. Your address, your phone number. You know, back in the days when you know checks, you took the grocery store and they wanted all your ID and they'd write it down because they'd come and collect if your checks bounced. You know, those days are over. But what do you think of that? Is that a good recommendation? Is just if you're going to use checks, just strip all, you know, shred your old checks that got your address on there and call the bank up and say, give me more checks, but just put my name on there, nothing else.
Yeah, you could do that, and Jeff, I don't think you're probably that much older than me. I'm just better looking. I'm kidding. But the thing that I did, even I'm like that. I've gotten it whittled down to I may write one check a month because you could do ACHs, and I strongly suggest people do ACHs. And I know older people are kind of, I don't know how they're, but if you do that, or automatic payments, you know, your electrical bill, your internet bill and all that comes out, and just one credit card. My wife and I've had one credit card my whole adult life. And you know, I put everything on there because it's safer. If they'll let you pay with a credit card or some type of ACH, or automatically deduct out of your, like I pay my credit card bill, I automatically just draw it out of my banking account. And that's safer. It's just nothing in the mail right now is bad.
Well, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Scott, because you know, most of the people in this meeting are clients of ours, and Megan's not in the workshop with us, but I mean, we do that all the time, as we use this ACH. And also, let me just talk to our clients directly that, you know, have their accounts at American Funds or Pershing or Charles Schwab. Well, that's what we recommend is get those links established. So it's not going via the mail. It's very secure. And of course, we're one of the companies that has your private data. You know, I mean, that's by nature what we do. So we've already got that information, but it allows us then to move money between your accounts and to you directly, and it's a very secure way of doing it. I got a follow-up question on the cookies.
Yeah, I want to respond to that, to Mary, because yes, sorry, the question about the cookies.
Yeah. You had to accept cookies to get into the Zoom meeting, I think.
Right. So I agree. And it's usually like my shopping sites, you know, if I'm going to go order something, or I'm browsing and I get that cookie pop up. And what I'll say is, what I've noticed is it typically shows that the only option is to accept them. And usually it's kind of like when you have to look for the little unsubscribe at the very bottom of the email, there is usually an additional text that says, like, show me my other options or manage cookie preferences. And typically in there is where you can say reject all. And, you know, I know sometimes that, you know, a site, say, again, I'll use my favorite example, Nordstrom. If they're tracking it, they want to know what my shopping patterns are. They want to be able to target my ads when I go onto Facebook or when I go onto Amazon. They want to spot, right? They're paying to harvest that data about what are my usual what's my behavior online, so that they can then, you know, target things. But what I have found is almost always, because I agree, very reputable sites are asking to allow the cookies. There is usually a way that you can just kind of click down, see all the preferences, and then reject them, essentially, so they can't follow you around. And then you can also clear them out. I clear my cache and cookies on my computer somewhat regularly, just to kind of clean out.
And I'll also add before I go on to the next question, for the time being, Olivia's, you know, handles all of our technology. So if you need a technology appointment with Olivia as a follow-up to show how to empty your cache and get rid of the cookies, which is, you know, easy for Gen X, or what generation are you in, Olivia? I forget what generation.
I'm an elder millennial, as they like to call them.
And I'm very technical, as you know. That was my background in the military. I had a top secret clearance in the U.S. military, and I've been a, you know, power user, you know, for 40 years. A lot of these things get past me too. So, you know, we kind of pride ourselves in being technical, and we have staff that can help you if you've got those kind of issues and questions. Feel free to get on Olivia's calendar for a technical meeting. I've got some other questions here. I'm going to try something different. We're going to open up and allow Geraldine, we're going to allow you to talk here. So if you want to ask a question, you can go ahead and just ask it, or you can put it in the Q&A. The mic is open if you want to ask a question.
Looks like she's still muted.
Okay, well.
Does she have a question, or was she just saying hi? She might have just raised her hand to say hi.
I don't know.
Okay.
talking permitted. It looks like, Geraldine, you might have your mic muted. If you got a question, you can put it in the Q&A and we'll just read it out.
Someone
right.
else just raised
Yeah.
their hand as well.
We'll get,
Maybe it was a
Yeah,
question.
well, let's try this. Sabir, if you got another question? We're open up the mics. If you make sure you're, let's see.
Okay,
There we go.
how safe is it to use a service like Venmo to send money?
Well, Venmo is anything can be hacked, but Venmo in about itself is a safe way to do money. It's just where you're sending it and who you're sending it to. The service itself is okay. It's who you're sending it to. Are they a fraudster? Have you convinced you to do something or invest in something or whatever? Venmo itself is okay to use, but the background of it is always questionable.
And
Just-
Venmo is one that you can't, if you accidentally, let's use my sister, for example, say I sent her money, but I put an extra zero on the end of it, she's a friend, she'll send it back, but it's not like a bank charge where you could go to your
but you have to link your bank account to Venmo to send money. So my concern is it safe to link your bank account to Venmo?
Well, yeah, they have that. They have some other things that bank accounts, and yeah, they do it all the time. You just got to make sure that when you're establishing a Venmo account, that it's a true account. Someone else didn't talk to you about doing Venmo. You go out on the internet and establish Venmo with your bank. I would always call the bank if you're dealing with somebody that wants a Venmo and you don't have a Venmo account. Call your banker or financial institution and explain to them what you're wanting to do and see, let them help you do that. Especially if you call the bank's fraud department or call the somebody at the on the retail. It's so prevalent now, they know, but give them a little background of what you're doing, because usually the banks are trained that said, hey, something might not sound right about that, and maybe can help you further.
And I'll make an add-on to that as well. Take our one of our planning softwares that we use that all of our clients have access to, which is eMoney. You'll see that number 10 down there. It's where we have our vault and clients can upload documents securely. And eMoney is a bank grade safe program, and our clients link their bank accounts, outside investment accounts, and it has to meet, certain standards for the banks to say, yes, we will establish that link with this piece of software. And so it's likely the case with something like, Venmo, PayPal, these very common ways to pass money back and forth. Those banks are allowing, the fact that the banks are allowing the link to be established, says a lot about the security of that program.
I've got another question here, Scott. This is kind of up my alley too. Multi-factor authentication. It's my opinion that if you have multi-factor authentication that requires a 6-digit code that is text to your phone with your password, that is almost unbreakable. I would think any fraudster would have to be in your presence with your phone and beats it out of you.
Yes.
Is that a fair case to make? I mean, I resisted 2-factor authentication forever because it's a huge pain in the butt. But what I've found is it's almost unbreakable. Almost.
Yeah, and you are right. That right now is probably the best thing to do if you can establish with whatever you're doing with a 2-factor authentication. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's let me just speak to the people that are here. you'll hear me talk about this over and over and over. The number one way your identity gets stolen, number one way, is sending checks in the mail. The people just wait to steal your mail. It's got your bank account. It's got all your information. Number one way your identity theft gets stolen. So if you're going to mail your checks, drop them off directly at the post office. Because Scott just said, don't put them in a blue box.
And don't even put them in the blue box that's sitting outside the post office. Go inside the post office.
Inside. Okay. And then two-factor authentication. Change your passwords on a regular basis. I mean, I'm forced into doing it about every 30 days or 60 days or whatever. But I think if you have two-factor authentication, you're in really good hands. I'll just address some of these best practices because we're going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. And we do want to say too, if you have questions that haven't been answered, we're going to take those questions. We're going to get Scott to answer them offline, and we'll give them we'll give you something in return for that. We're still shredding documents. That's something that Vivian started. We have a shredding service. A lot of you ask me all the time, how long should I keep my statements? Well, in terms of your investing life, why do you need to keep the statements? You got to keep them for cost basis reasons. This is why we encourage you to keep records of your house. It's to establish a cost basis in the event that you ever sell anything. Well, in 2011, federal regulations required all institutions to keep cost basis information going forward from 2011 forward, and that is on your statement. So you don't really need to keep your physical statements anymore. All these institutions that we work with will keep the statements for years. If you want to download your statements and keep them, you do it once a year. If you got American Funds, go to American Funds. If you go to Pershing, download those. If you don't want to do it, we'll download them. We'll save them for you. We'll even upload them into your eMoney vault for safekeeping. So there's some things that we do regularly. Shred your documents, multi-factor authentication, your emails. Check those, and there's all sorts of other best practices. Let's see, is there any question here that we haven't?
I addressed one that said, what agencies do we contact victim of identity theft? And I said those that Scott listed were TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax.
That's right.
What we'll also do is we'll create a guide of some of these, frequently asked questions, and we'll make it available to the attendees of this webinar, kind of a good guide.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Scott, very much. Olivia, thank you very much for putting all this together. For those of you that are still in the room, if you do have questions, more questions, feel free to email them to us. We'll get back to you. We are going to take this webinar, clean it up, get it approved by our compliance department, and get it posted online. So with that, I'll say thank you very much. We'll be talking to you in the not too distant future. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you again,
Thanks,
Scott.
Olivia.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for coming. And we'll get some more information out to you. And if you have friends or family who you think would have benefited from this, we'll let you know when the recording is available. But thank you all very much. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it.
Thank you.